in pairs, watching the A-10s fly over and listening to the tank shoot. I'd always wanted to be a soldier, so this is something I've been looking forward to my entire life.
A change in leadership happened this morning at the Louisiana National Guard Training Center Pineville. The 199th Regiment will now be led by Vernon Parish native Colonel Kevin W. James.
Sound adjutant call.
For outgoing Colonel Willis B. Hall, August 18th marks the end of an era. At the change of command ceremony, Hall relinquished his command to incoming Colonel Kevin W. James. It's a full circle moment for the Alexandria native.
It was incredibly special to serve in this role because not only am I from this area, I was commissioned as an officer through this program in 1995. And to have the opportunity to come back and leave the organization that I was commissioned through was an incredibly rewarding, gratifying, and special experience.
The 199th Regiment serves as the primary annual and pre-mobilization training platform for the Louisiana National Guard.
Do not underestimate the importance of your training.
Colonel Hall took command in 2021. He says one of his great successes as commander was reducing company-grade vacancies.
Initially, there were 112 company-grade vacancies, and that's much lower now. What that means is that increases the readiness level across the organization because you have key leaders in the positions to be effective. When you're missing those key leaders, your readiness is not optimal.
Colonel James says he's ready to continue what Colonel Hall started.
We build leaders, and our focus will be to build future lieutenants for the Louisiana Army National Guard, to build future NCOs for the active duty Army, as well as the reserves and all the states within the United States in the National Guard.
Colonel Hall says he's looking forward to his next assignment as the new chief for the Joint Chief of Staff for the Louisiana National Guard. For News Channel 5, I'm Jay McCulley.